Usually when you set a trap, the entire goal is like absolute control. You want the bait perfectly secured, the mechanism tight, and the variables totally minimized. You want to predict exactly what the mouse is going to do.
Right. I mean, it's an exercise in eliminating surprises. You want total certainty before the trap ever even springs.
But then you look at the climax of Enola Holmes 3, and Sherlock Holmes, the absolute king of control, he builds a trap where the bait has a mind of its own.
Yeah, which is completely wild for him.
It really is. So, welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive, where we are unpacking the explosive psychological finale of this film just for you. We've got a stack of great source material breaking down the ending today, and our mission is to figure out the mechanics of Sherlock's mind-bending trap, explore the sticky ethical dilemma of using Enola as unwitting bait, and reveal why this ending permanently rewrites the Holmes family legacy.
It really is a massive shift, not just for the characters, but for the mechanics of how a mystery story actually resolves in this universe.
Exactly. So let's unpack the mechanics of this setup first. Because throughout the movie, Sherlock does things that look completely out of character. Like when he intentionally lets the crucial ledger burn in the fireplace while pretending to be asleep, he's projecting total defeat.
He really is.
He lets everyone, including his closest allies, believe he's been thoroughly beaten. It's like playing possum in a high-stakes chess match, losing pieces on purpose to draw out the king. You make yourself look foolish to give the opponent a false sense of security.
Because the mastermind here is an orchestrator who never gets their hands dirty. Sherlock realizes you can't just chase the foot soldiers. You have to make the architect feel so completely safe, so victorious, that they voluntarily step out of the shadows.
Which relies on the one weakness every mastermind has, right? Overconfidence.
Right. In detective lore, criminals rarely lose because they suddenly become unintelligent. I mean, they lose because success makes them careless. The moment the villain believes Sherlock has finally been bested, they take direct action.
Which is their downfall.
Exactly. That single, overconfident decision creates the exact evidence Sherlock needs to close the net.
Okay, but if the goal was just to exploit the villain's overconfidence, why couldn't Sherlock do that alone? Like, why keep Enola completely in the dark and put her in the crosshairs?
Well, she had to think it was real.
But she's investigating and getting into genuine danger. She thinks this life or death game is entirely real.
Because it had to be real to her. The mastermind was observing Enola's every move, every conversation, every emotional response.
Which makes sense. Think about how this applies even outside of detective work. If you've ever tried to surprise someone, you know that if they have even a hint of the plan, their reaction is slightly rehearsed. Genuine, unfakeable emotion was the only currency this villain would accept.
Precisely. Her authentic, raw surprise became the ultimate bait that convinced the villain they were winning.
I have to push back on that, though. Sure, the trap worked, but isn't authenticity just a really convenient excuse for manipulating your little sister?
I mean, a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, the trust might be there, but the execution is incredibly cold. He basically strings her along.
It looks that way on the surface, absolutely. Fans of the franchise are heavily divided on the ethics of this tactic. But looking at the broader narrative arc, this actually represents a massive evolution for Sherlock.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, earlier versions of his character prioritized cold logic and absolute control above all else. Letting Enola operate blind is a massive leap of faith. He is trusting her inherent survival instincts and her honesty to navigate a dangerous blind spot without his direct guidance.
But look at where that leaves Enola. If she's just the bait, she's going to feel like a pawn sacrificed on his chessboard.
You'd assume so, but the twist is that Sherlock's trap would have completely fallen apart without her.
Because she wasn't just passive bait.
Exactly. While she served as bait, she independently recognized the subtle behavioral changes, the hidden motives, and the emotional weaknesses that Sherlock's pure, calculated logic completely missed.
Oh, wow. She noticed the overlooked clues that required empathy, not just math.
This establishes a completely new paradigm. Sherlock provided the strategy, but Enola provided the humanity. They end this film not as an older brother protecting his kid sister, but as absolute equals.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the future of the franchise. This mutual growth positions Enola to launch her own independent detective agency.
While we now have a collaborative Sherlock, ready to tackle even larger criminal networks.
It's a huge shift.
It shifts the Holmes legacy from a solitary genius to a shared enterprise. In fact, the source material makes a brilliant case that Sherlock's greatest triumph here wasn't catching the mastermind at all. It was shaping the detective Enola has become.
which leaves you with a lingering thought to mull over. In any high-stakes scenario you face, is a perfectly logical strategy ever truly complete without the unpredictable, unfakeable human element to actually make it work?